Oh. 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 Pragmatic Duck. Just saw you live. I'm out cooking some steaks for the family on the barbecue. She's cold down here in Victoria today. Oh yeah, man. It's cold over here in Adelaide as well. But I guess it's good, you know. We need winter as well. Enjoy the barbecue, brother. Oh man. Why is everything so screwed up here? There we go. Biggs, how you going, man? Thanks for stopping by, brother. Biggs and Biggie Cheese, back to back. Look at that. Hey, man, how are you? From Finland. Raven says, will you go for 90 kg strict overhead press? I've never gotten the 90 kg overhead press. Never. And I haven't really trained for overhead press in a long time. It's one of those lifts that is so hard to train, so hard to progress. I feel like putting my time in something else is more beneficial, really. Oh, man. Alrighty. There. Oh, that's 5. Your bench increased a lot since the 85. Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, I should have more strength to do the 90, but I don't know. Right now, I don't really want to disrupt the bench. Let's see. I have a feeling the bench press momentum is completely gone. But anyway, it's getting close to that squatting period for me. So we'll see. I'll give it a few more weeks of pushing. Just like, coming in, do the work, that kind of thing. And if I can't get the goal that I want, then I'll just leave it at that and put it on the back burner and just mess around with singles and like light, when I say light work, I'm not talking about, not having heavy weight in my hands. It's just simply not pushing it with high volume. And then I'll just focus on the squat for a bit, put some volume in that. Oh man, this thing is so annoying. When you live in an old house, there's everything is gonna start breaking. Do you think specializing in wide stance squats and overhead press with deads on the side would be worthwhile? I don't want to bench and do others anymore. Wide stance squats and overhead press. It just depends, man. Like, these questions are very, very dependent upon you as a lifter and what's going on with you. Like, if you are struggling with wide stance, if you think wide stance is a weakness that you can progress, that you can do something with, that can kind of carry over to your main stance, there's a lot of maybes there and, you know, whatnot, but it just hardly depends on what's going on with you. I'm a big believer of training the weaknesses. You know, getting something that is really weak on you to improve is a really good idea. Now, if that is wide stance for you, then go for it. You know, I tried the wide stance at the end of last year, and it was good, but it kind of left me in a bit of a pickle afterwards. I kind of paid a hefty price for it with the groin. And, you know, groin strains are, my God, man. Never had to deal with that, but that was a long process to kind of sort out. So, I don't know, man. Give it a shot, and if you don't see like you're getting anywhere, you can go from there, I guess. All right. Renato says, how do you go about dieting protein intake? Or are you just eating when your Jena puts on the table? I'm having some pastries as we speak. Renato, it's basically that, yeah. Whatever she cooks, I eat. I don't count calories. I don't count protein. I don't do any of that stuff. Never been interested in doing any of that stuff. All this thing about, you know, science saying you need this much protein, that much protein. That's all well and good. You know, I find that, you know, if you just eat, you should be okay. This idea of like optimal protein and all this stuff, I don't really know, man. Like, there's only so much protein you can digest. And if you try and force a certain type of food, you can upset your gut. I've had an upset gut in the past, and so I just eat according to how I feel and what's going on. Like, if I don't feel like eating, I'm not going to eat. If I don't feel like, you know, stuffing my face, I'm not going to stuff my face. Like, I just feel like you can also kind of hurt your body in a way if you just keep on piling the same foods and chasing protein and whatever. If your body needs a break from food, just have a break, man. And, you know, a lot of times, a lot of days, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to eat anything heavy. I just want to eat something light today, have a lighter day. But like, you know, if I'm following the bro science, no, you have to get the protein intake and all this stuff. It just changes it into kind of like a silly relationship with food. And you start to ignore the feedback that your body tells you. You know, it starts to seem like you're a robot without any, you know, feeling, or you're not getting any feedback from your system. You know, that's how people treat their bodies nowadays. It's, but yeah, I don't think that way, man. Like, if I feel like eating something, I'll eat it. If I don't, I don't. If I get really, really tired from training and I'm really, really hungry, then I'll eat. Otherwise, I won't. Most days I eat twice a day. And that's good enough for me, man. Like, that's how I view it. Raven, beautiful. Yeah, between 80 and 150 is more than enough depending on your size and activity level. Hey dude, I used to watch every day, just check in every now and then. Inspiring to still you going. Rock on, man. Hey, thank you, Sean. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, a lot of people, you know, come and go. You know, our interests change. There's a lot of people, including myself, like over the years, I've watched a lot of content on fitness, and then I go into, you know, my mind is like, okay, I've had enough of fitness. I want to, you know, get into soccer or basketball, watch some stuff on that, watch some documentaries, history, philosophy. You know, it goes back and forth. Not every single day do I want to watch fitness. So I perfectly understand people coming and going. All right. Alrighty. Now let me take you guys over here. Hey, Fresh Snow. Cat enthusiast. How you going, mate? All over the world. I have no barbell. What am I doing? I need a barbell in my hands for the bench to work. Oh. Gdje je beba? Šta radiš, bebo? Si pao? To i tata ljubi. Ne, tu prelevo, dođi vam. Šta je bilo, bebo? Šta si radio, čini, čoj? Šta je lada, bebo? Aha. Aha. Okay.
Beba moja mala.
Ideš, vidimo se meni. Ćao, čao. Jesi uzeo onaj metal, jesi? Aha.
Koji metal?
Skinuo sam sa šeda vamo nešto. Vidimo se tad. Oh, all right. Oh, man. Since coming back to bench pressing after the sickness, I feel like even the warm-up gets me fatigued. It's so bizarre. So right now I'm struggling to even warm up. That's how pumped up my chest is from this. It wasn't like this before. E36, man, I'm good. How are you, dude? How are you? Yeah, I'm still hitting the bench. Do you believe the devil, Satan, is currently working in all ways to disrupt us? I know you said you believe in God. Yeah, I do believe in God, man. In terms of the devil and all that stuff, I don't really know what's going on. But there's a lot of evil in the world, and it makes you wonder, definitely, doesn't it? Really makes you wonder. Mick says, any tips for the squat, Ivan? I squatted 140 for 3 this morning after not squatting for a year or so. Feel like my legs have much more in them. Not sure what is the limiting factor. Yeah, that whole question about what the limiting factor is, that is literally the most important question, because really we should be focusing on the limiting factor. What is that element that's holding you back? And that is very hard to diagnose. it really is hard, man. You just kind of have to work it out. And oftentimes you're not going to get it right. You're going to get it wrong probably many times before you feel like you hit the nail on the head. Lots of factors go into it, man. How you squat, where's the bar, the depth, the technique, how you brace. Lots going on. It's sort of like the same question goes for the bench press, right? What is the limiting factor on the bench press? Like for me, it's off the chest. Why? It might not be just one thing. Some people are like, oh, it's the upper back. Okay, cool. You do the upper back and you still don't get anywhere. So what is it then? Or is it the tightness? Is it the leg drive? Is it the pecs? You run around for a little bit and it's oftentimes the effects of your training are delayed in terms of eventuating, seeing the real benefit of that particular block that you're doing. And so it's kind of hard. It's not like you see the cause and effect right in front of you. It's almost like murky water and you got to pick out what's really causing what. It's kind of tricky like that. Raven says, how have you much knowledge of endocrine disruptors, all types of bad chemicals everywhere in the household items? Oh, Raven, I'm aware that there's a lot going on, but like in terms of the intricate science about it all, I'm not sure. But yeah, there's absolutely a lot of stuff in the house. You have to be careful, like all those forever chemicals and all that stuff. It's definitely worth a thought. I've never really gone down that rabbit hole though. All good, thank you. Today hit 80 for 20 for 3 sets. Tapering up. Good, man. Good. Good. Keep hitting it. Oh, God. Classic head knock on the bench, huh? I don't know what to do with the freaking microphone anymore, seriously. Seriously. Too low, too high. Still can't hear anything. I don't know if you boys, what do you reckon? Is the sound all right now? I don't really know anymore. I keep playing with it and a lot of people are saying, oh, the microphone is not working, man. Can't hear anything. Oh, man. Oh, man. I'm going into nursing and I remember way back, you told a story about a kid overdosing on steroids and other drugs. Have you seen any growth from any experiences in medical field mentally wise? Oh, like you mean from the populace, from the general population in terms of growth? Have you seen any growth from any experiences in medical field mentally wise? Have I seen any growth, you mean? Good morning, Sam. Hello, hello. Unrelated to training, but I figured I'd ask. Feel free not to answer if it's not something you want to touch on. Oh, yeah, man. I'll speak about this all the time, man. The experiences of ED. Absolutely, man. Like you get exposed to the worst of the worst and that has an impact on you and makes you mature, for sure. Absolutely. And it's one of the driving factors of why I train every day and why I do this every day. Definitely what I see in nursing. How bad is fluoride in drinking water? Should you avoid it or is it a non-issue? I don't know much about fluoride, man. I don't know much, Raven. I don't know anything about that. I know that where I come from, Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, I don't think we had fluoride in the water. But yeah, I guess every country has that decision to make. But apparently fluoride is bad, is good for your teeth and stuff. So I don't know. I don't really know, man. Thoughts on the trap bar deadlifts, Ivan? It's funny you mentioned that because I've been talking to the guys at Bells of Steel, and I've been talking about the trap bar deadlift. I feel like I want to give it a go, like a proper go. So I might be getting a trap bar deadlift soon into the mix once I get the equipment. But the thought that I had, actually, I think one of you fellas actually mentioned it. One of the thoughts I had was, you know, when I was going to the gym, I was doing a lot of leg pressing during that whole deadlift period. And I feel like it was helping me off the floor, like, you know, pushing with my quads and whatnot. And so one of the fellas on here said, man, like if you don't have a leg press, you think about a trap bar deadlift, it's kind of like a similar feeling. And I thought, fuck, that is a brilliant idea, man. And so I was talking to the guys in the Bells of Steel. They look after me. And I was like, man, I wouldn't mind giving it a go, you know. And they were like, yeah, let's look into it. We'll get you one. And so I might be getting a trap bar deadlift soon into the mix once I get the trap bar. And so the deadlift period is going to follow the squat period. So somewhere, I want to say in end of October, November, I'm going to start hitting the deadlift pretty hard again. And last time, you know, that whole second part of the year, I was doing belt squats, hack squats, leg press, like, you know, I did like 3 or 4 weeks stints of each. And then by the time I got to the leg press, I started really to feel my quads, and I started to feel very good wedging at the start of the deadlift, and I started feeling really good. So you might ask, like, what the hell? Why did you stop if we're feeling good? Like, I hit that 285 with the deadlift, took a deload around the end of the year because I just basically ran out of steam. And then after that, my groin started really killing me. And so I stopped all of that, stopped going to the gym, started working out at home, and started to address some of that groin pain that I had. And that basically took me the first quarter of the year messing around with that, all sorts of different ideas. And that's where the high reps came in to try and deal with it. I wish I had these machines earlier, you know, the hip machines. That would have helped me a lot, but I didn't have it at the time, so I was messing around with basic stuff at home. Oh, man. Oh, Lord. I'm so shit with the deadlift now. It's so annoying. I can't hit my 23 reps anymore. Completely lost the momentum, boys. Frustrating. It makes me really want to just drop the bench altogether now. When you have such a good period and then you get sick and you come back, you feel like shit. It's so mentally tough to kind of go back and feel that shitty feeling. Blows out the quads. There you go. Yeah. Definitely does, the trap bar deadlift for sure. Ash says, I'm a PT. I have my clients with poor mobility do trap deads. If you have trouble with hinging and are beginners, great strength builder for beginners and advanced people alike. There you go. Yeah, I have very limited experience with the trap bar deadlift, man. Very limited. So I'm keen. I'm really excited to kind of give it a go. Oh man. Sam says I did leg press every day yesterday for roughly 30 reps a set. Appropriate weight, not easy weight. Cool things to try if anyone hasn't yet. Even just for the mental challenge to push through. Yeah, that's a lot of reps, man. I did that as well. When I started doing leg press, I was doing like just empty like leg press for sets of 30, 40, 50 and like feeling the stretch in the adductors. It was a nice feeling. Very nice feeling. Mick says, not sure if you're familiar with the vibe, but you should try earthquake bar bench, military press. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the earthquake bar. Never tried it. And I've also seen how people rig up, you know, the kettlebells and stuff on it with the bands. I don't think I've ever seen anybody talk about it like it's actually, you know, it actually helps you in any way. Like in terms of 1 rep max and strength work and whatever. What I imagine it does is it, you know, works on your balance and your central nervous system and whatever. And I imagine like if you were, like, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud now. If you're like an ice skater or snowboarder or something, just like skating in general, something that has like a lot of balance implications. I see how doing like earthquake squats could really kind of train something along those lines, but I don't really see the use of it. You know, if you're interested in like doing 1 rep maxing and whatever. Yeah, I just haven't seen a lot of people, and I think in my mind as well, like I can't really connect the dots whether that would be a beneficial thing or not. Yeah. Oh, God. I feel like I want to do rowing again today. I want to do rows again. Maybe I won't. I'll just do some hip stuff. Do you use a hack squat at your gym? Would be keen to hear your opinions on it as an accessory to build a squat. Personal experience, it helped massively in a balanced program for me. Yeah, like if you look back to the videos in November last year, I was doing it once a week, pushing it really hard. And yeah, when I first started, I was terrible, man. Like just doing 1 plate on the hack squat like was difficult for me. Just, yeah, I didn't really know, you know, which muscles to use, and it was just strange. Because it really forces you to stay upright, obviously. And that's the whole point, hitting the quads. And when you're so ingrained into your mind, this idea of hip hinging in a squat, it's such a strange sensation to feel all knees. So it took me a little while, but I got up to 4 plates on the hack squat for a set of 10, like all the way ATG. It was very, very difficult work, very difficult work. And now that I think about it, that was probably the wrong way I go about it. Sets of 10 is like too heavy. I should have just stuck with like 2 plates and done like sets of 20 or 30. But anyway, that's how I did it. All right, let's see what I can do on the second set here. 2016. Probably the next one will be 12. Thoughts on accessories when lifting using wraps, wrist wraps, straps, belts. I'm not a fan of any of it, man. Just never took to it. I don't know. I don't like the idea. For me, oh man, I'm just off a night shift, boys, and I'm freaking tired as. Woke up like a couple of hours ago. So freaking tired, and that drunk feeling, you know, jet lagged feeling. But yeah, I never took to the equipment, man. Like I've got a belt over there, a couple of belts. I don't like the sensation, man. The knees and things, I don't like that either. I don't like the idea of putting it on. I don't like the idea of like messing around with it before every lift, on and off. It's just, I think it will take away from the fun of lifting, to be honest. I don't like it. I just want to feel the way I feel and just lift. That's how I think about it, man. But each to their own, obviously. It has a place in lifting for sure. I used to think it didn't, but now I do. But yeah, it's just one less thing to worry about. I couldn't be bothered now putting knee sleeves on and shit like that. I'm screwed. Oh, Lord. Feel so freaking fatigued, man. Do you take your pre-workout or caffeine before session? No, Peter. I don't take any of that stuff, man. I don't do pre-workout. I don't do coffee. I don't do any of that stuff. I just don't see a need for it, man. If you're tired, go to sleep. If you can. If you can't, like me, then you can't. But I've always had this perspective, like if you're tired, the last thing you want to do is throw coffee into the mix or pre-workout and whatever and distort some of that signaling from the body. You know, I feel like I want to know exactly what the body's going through, and having some of these things cloud some of those signals is not something that I want. You know, after this, I'll go back in the house, shower, eat, and I'll be tired, very, very tired. Just go to sleep. But if I was to take a pre-workout, God knows how that would affect that. And so then subsequently, I feel like that would affect the sleep. And yeah, I just don't know. I think people are so reliant on these, you know, nervous system stimulants. And they take this stuff for years on end, a couple of coffees here, pre-workout there, and it's like they're just always running in this, you know, in this reserve. Like they don't have like a true grasp of what the body's really feeling. And so I don't like the idea of that, you know. And also, you know, coffee and pre-workout being such stimulants, I always felt like, you know, what is that doing long term, you know? I've had lots of chats with people over the years about this stuff, and obviously everyone drinks coffee, everyone's crazy about coffee. I feel like people can't even wake up without a coffee. First thing people do after waking up is drinking coffee, and that never really made sense to me. Like, you've just freaking woken up, man. You've just woken up. You should be the freshest you're going to be in the next day. How the hell are you taking a coffee to wake up from sleep? You should be waking up absolutely ready for the day. But people take a coffee after sleeping, and that to me is just strange. I don't understand that concept. Why are you drinking a coffee? You should be ready for the day. Oh, I know. It's because the day before you've been drinking coffee and you had probably trouble sleeping, good quality sleep. So you've had shit sleep, so you've woken up now and you've got to throw in another stimulant to kind of wake you up. So really you're just digging a bigger hole every single day. And part of me also thinks, this is simply just me thinking, I have a feeling in like 20, 30, 40, 50 years time, we're going to do some research. And there's going to be a really strong link with like neurodegenerative diseases. Like my gut feeling is, I have no knowledge or literature, I've done no research in this, but my gut feeling is, I reckon some of this stuff is affecting, our elderly. The elderly are seeing the effects. I reckon the dementia is kind of linked to this somehow. I don't really know. Dementia is like through the roof. Coffee consumption is through the roof in the last 20, 30 years, 40 years. And part of me is like, what if dementia is just simply the brain is just worn out? You've been redlining this shit like a race car, banging on the rev limiter for the last 40, 50 years, and the brain is just fucking done. Because think about it, what does cocaine do? What does adrenaline do? It vasoconstricts. So like, what if coffee in some sort of way does something to our brain where it kind of like limits some of the blood flow to the brain because it's like a stimulant, you're in a fight or flight kind of mode, kind of like adrenaline would give you the feeling, or cocaine or something like that. Maybe all of this stuff is kind of linked somehow. I mean, this is purely me guessing after seeing so much dementia, so much of these neurodegenerative diseases. And I sit there and I'm like, often, especially on night shift, when I do nights, I sit there and I'm like, what the hell is going on, man? How come every single person here is got dementia or Alzheimer's? It just kind of makes you think. And then I think, okay, so what are some of the behaviors that all of these people might be having a common link with? Maybe freaking these people are just drinking coffee. Like, I know that 80-year-old grandma didn't do cocaine. Like, it's just not the time of the world, right? I know that fella comes from this part of the world. I know he wouldn't have had cocaine or meth or anything like that. But they've had coffee, and they have coffee like crazy. Like, I watch my parents, they drink like 50 liters of coffee a day. And I've said this to them, I'm like, guys, like, this is just my gut feeling. What are we doing here? Like, why so people so, like, nobody has the creativity to think forward. It's like, until you see research, you don't even think for yourself. Can't you just extrapolate some things that you see and just wonder and maybe change some of your behavior? Why do we need somebody else to tell us that, yeah, this is a fact, this is what's happening? It's just people don't like to think for themselves. It's just, I'm not saying I've got proof or whatever. I'm just saying, like, does anyone ever think, okay, why is cancer on the rise? Why is this on the rise? Like, I'm always kind of thinking about that for myself. And obviously, to have research that is meaningful takes freaking years, like decades. And so for the people right now, are we just gonna not do anything about it until 20 years time when we've already had the negative effects of this thing? Or do we just kind of have like an intuition, like a gut feeling? Maybe this is something, maybe this is wrong. Maybe it is wrong to stimulate our nervous system to the max every single day. And so anyway, a long-winded thing about pre-workout and coffee, but like, that's kind of what I've wondered in the past. And sure, yeah, night shifts are hard and shift work is hard and coffee will make it easier. But coffee adds another thing on your graph that you have to account for. The REM cycle, the coffee cycle, the sleep cycle, like all of this stuff is kind of in there. The shift, it's another thing, training, fatigue, or I just did hamstrings and glutes, I'm sore there. That's another thing on the graph you kind of have to account for. I don't know. It's just me in my brain. Like, I definitely feel like I can't live in this life without coffee and other stimulants. I just find it interesting, and I don't know if other people find it interesting. You have just woken up, and you're taking a coffee in. Like, what the actual fuck? I don't get it. You should be fresh. Why aren't you fresh? Why aren't you fresh? Why haven't you slept well? If you had 2 hours of sleep, cool, I understand. But if you've slept for 8, 9 hours, what is going on? Maybe the previous day, toxins that you put into your system are impacting your sleep. Just putting it out there. I don't know. All right, I've had enough of that. All right, I said I wasn't, but I want to. I'll do a little bit. I'll do just a few sets. I'll do a few sets of this. You guys even see me here? Miz says, hey Miz, how are you, man? Being addicted to caffeine for 15 years has got me through work over the years. Working at a gym is wild. Teenage blasting pre-workout at 9 p.m. Adults double scooping at 6 a.m. People taking crazy stacks before even looking at their diet and sleep. Insane what social media has done. Ash, you're thinking exactly like me. I don't get it either, man. You know, if I take another scoop, I'll get a PR. Yeah, it's all strange to me, man. Ivan, hey, seated or HP, dumbbell press versus standing overhead press. Feels like sitting isolates the shoulders more. Barbell standing is a better, more rounded approach. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know for myself, like I haven't done a lot of seated stuff. But I do these seated lateral raises and I feel like they're better. I get a better stimulus than standing. It's probably because you remove a lot of the body out of the mix. And so there's a phenomenon that I can't think of now, but like if you isolate one muscle and deactivate all of the rest, your body can send more nervous activation to that one muscle, which is one of the reasons why isolation work is so potent. It's not just about muscles, it's about how much, call it electricity, your brain is sending, right? If you have to use every single body part, your electricity gets divided up into like hundreds of bits, right? But if you're just doing bicep curls, like everything is focused on the bicep, and the bicep gets more work that way. So I feel like there's a lot of that as well with seated work. You just remove a lot of the other stuff and it becomes better. Now I feel like this is going to be too heavy. I want to try this. Oh, that's good. That's very good. It's like a completely different exercise. Just changing the grips. Yesterday I did neutral grip, like pulling to the hips. Now I'm kind of, pulling to my throat. It's so much different. Oh, man. Willen, how are you, man? How's the workout? Yeah, so far so good. I'm off 2 nights, man, so I feel terrible. I feel very yawning and lethargic, but I'll push through it, dude, as I always do. I always try to push through. Do the best you can, man. Not every day is going to be great. Miz, what's happening, man? Ivan, are supplements worth it? Not to me, they're not. There are special circumstances when supplements can have a place, but I feel like if you're an able-bodied person and you have a balanced diet and life, I think you can get everything you need. Supplements when you're sick, when you're coming down with something, you want to overdose on something, to give the immune system a chance to fight this thing. Yeah, sure, I'll do the same thing. I take zinc, I take vitamin C. I hit that up, like if I feel like I'm coming down with something. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But for the most part, like the protein powders, and I don't get the protein powders, dude. Like I've said it many times in the past, but what's wrong with milk? Whatever. That's that bit. But yeah, that's just what I believe in. Ivan, do you do much cycling? A friend of mine does it on high resistance, and he said the carryover to squat is pretty notable. Sam, I used to do a lot of cycling. When I say a lot, like I'm not a freaking, I've got people around me who properly cycle, and they got like amazing bikes. This is just a normal bike, dude, nothing special. I used to ride to uni all the time. And I vividly remember those. This is like before squat every day. This is many years ago. And I used to remember like the quad pumps. There was one particular hill I had to climb up. For those of you that are in Adelaide, if you're going down Torrens Road, like right before the aquatic centre, there's that big hill. And fucking hell, there's like a traffic light right at the bottom of that. And if you get caught on the red, you have to stop. It's a battle. And this bike is a fixie, like this one gear. I don't have gears on this bike. And it was fucking hell, man. You got traffic behind you and stuff. Some of them want to kind of turn in front of you, behind you. And you are just stuck in this hurt locker trying to climb up. Yeah, a lot of quad, man. That's for sure. Duck says CNS involvement and motor neuron recruitment makes sense. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm thinking. And I think this is why seated variations and whatnot is very good. But obviously, if you want to be an athlete, you're going to have to do some whole body movements, right? Seated is good, but you need to understand that you're leaving a lot of the body out. Oh, man. Oh, man. Does the T-bar row have a setting for the chest pads? I noticed that being a good difference for me if I ever felt too pressed against the pad. Nah, there's no settings. This is locked in. It's all very old school, man. Locked in. And there's just a handle that kind of goes this way and that way. Yeah, there's no real differences there. You can't really make anything different. I honestly don't know what to do with this microphone. What a weird design. Where the fuck are you supposed to put this shit? Have to hold it like this. I bet this is great, isn't it? Great sound when I do this. Hold it in my mouth like this. Swallow the freaking microphone. I bet this is great. You have to hold it up like a fucking... Why is it that way? What's the point of having a clip? If you clip it on, you can't hear anything. You can't put it anywhere. You can't do anything with it. Like, what is the design here? What the fuck is this? You put a clip it, the microphone is facing the wrong way. Fucking stupid, man. Seriously, man. Fuck, I don't know what to do with it anymore. So many people say, oh, Ivan, the microphone's shit. Can't hear anything. Turn it up. Fuck, how do I turn it up, man? Hey, mates. Separates the men from the boys. Now watch me dominate these weights. All our nutrition for the food. Yes, the hill climbs, that's what he does. George, hi Ivan, good to see you. Just checking in here until I head to the gym. In a little while, as always, no coffee or pre-workout supplements needed. Respect, George. Keep it up, man. Do you think a bench PR counts if it wasn't paused? I think so. You know, there's all these different variations. You know, whatever you want. Hey mate, I'd pause the feed about the time you were talking about trap bars. I've got a rep bar with a rotating handle which has 3 widths of grip. It's awesome, but, there's a big but. Oh, Sam, there you go. Well, you know, it's good to hear that at least your sound is good. I don't know how everyone else is getting different experiences. I don't know what's going on there. That's all I'll do for that. Just turn on the back a bit. And then I'll do this a bit. When I'm tired like this, I can't go bonkers and everything. All right, let's warm up the squat. Oh, man. There you go. Well, I'm happy about the sound for you fellas. That's only the coffee bean increasing the telomeres within the cell. The length of the telomeres. It caps out at 2 cups per day. So, Willem, you're saying, are you saying the coffee is good? Is that what you're telling? Did you guys hear about Ronnie Coleman being in hospital again? He had another underlying heart condition. I'm not sure what it is. Oh, Sam. I saw something about that. Yeah, I don't really know what the condition is or what's going on. That guy, man, unbelievable. What a price to pay for all that. Terrible, man. Absolutely terrible. Alrighty. All right, that's 40. Let's go to 50. Yes, you will live several Yes, longer on average drinking the 2 or 3 cups coffee per day. You will live several... So Willem, you're saying coffee will extend your life? Yeah, coffee definitely has taken over the world. I hope one day that we don't work out that it's like smoking. I don't see how abusing anything can lead to something positive. Could be wrong though. Let's see, maybe coffee is this wonderful thing. Five to 8 years more lifespan. Just a Google search says here 1.8 years. They'll live longer. I don't know what the mechanism there is. But it says here, I love it. It says here, current evidence is weak and largely inconclusive. I love it. But people grab the headline and run with it. Yeah, so the people are talking about it. They're like, this is like the studies that conclude that a glass of wine a day is good for you too. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm not convinced. You know, a glass of wine also makes you, it's like whichever industry pays for the research, they're going to say it's good. The amount of corruption that goes on is insane. Yeah, there's always the next thing. Yeah. You know, drink this, drink that, eat this. Fuck yeah, it's great, man. You know, it's like when a certain restaurant is like top 5 in the city or whatever, it's like that restaurant just pay them more money than all the others to make the list. You know, I'm skeptical of all this stuff, man. You know, I don't get it, dude. I don't know. All right. 50, let's go to 60. Oh, fuck. I think coffee falls into the moderation category. Sometimes, unfortunately, people don't seem to adhere today. 1 cup, maybe 2 or so, be it. 5 coffees and 2 Red Bulls, though. We've got issues. Yeah, Doc, it's like that, isn't it? Who knows? Like you say, I'm sure it will be years in the future when we actually find out. It's like the green tea came around, or coconut water, or whatever else. Yeah, that's it, Sam. It really does feel like that. But this is the thing. Like, I always think to myself, sure, but what if people just drink more water? What if they just drank more water? You know, does that extend your life? Yeah. So I would love to see a research like that. Water versus coffee. What gives you better life and health? More water or more coffee? I know what I'd pick. Willem says, yeah, but the research doesn't say drink more coffee for the results. It says 1 or 2 max coffees. Google also says that mRNA gene therapy for COVID is safe and effective. Yeah, well, there you go. Damn, that's something right there, man. These are the same people that told us to do this. These are the same people that said, yeah, do this. There'll be no side effects. It's all great. Well, they didn't say there was not going to be any side effects. They just said, we're very scared about this particular thing that's going on. Let's just give everyone this. And then whatever they gave ended up hurting a lot of people. Alrighty. What are we at now? 60. Let's bang out 60. Opa. 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, 60. Let's go to 70. All right, partner. 70 next up. What's up, y'all? And doesn't coffee do other stuff? I'm sure coffee does lots of things, man. I had long COVID. I lost my taste for 10 months. Weird, very weird experience. Damn. Yeah, that's the thing, dude. Like, there's no doubt about it that people lost their lives with COVID. But then, like, trying to find the net positive, the net result, the net effect, it's hard. It's hard to compute all of that. You know, the amount of people with the lockdowns and everything, the amount of people, you know, got hurt with the loss of health services and all the rest of it, travel. A lot goes into it. And basically, you would need a supercomputer to kind of balance all of this stuff out to work out exactly, you know, how we went with the whole COVID situation and whatever. But, you know, my only problem was making things compulsory, making things mandatory. It's very much police state type of energy, you know, very much for people that come from troubled parts of the world, like the Soviets, you know, satellite states and whatever, like my parents, where they grew up in Yugoslavia, there was a lot of thoughts reminded them of that period of time where the government just heavy-handedly forces you to do things. And, you know, for people that haven't had experience with that type of world and being in a war-torn country and being, you know, shuttled around by the army and being forced to do this, that, the other, people that don't have experience that, it's probably not as bad. But like for my parents and a lot of people that I know, that those thoughts, that PTSD, let's say, came back to them, and it really gave them this idea of like wartime type of energy. You know, shelves at the shops being empty and all the rest of it. It was a very, very scary time. And you know, me being in the medical industry, I was kind of like on the side of medicine and the research, and so I kind of listened, but I had my doubts about the whole thing being mandatory. However, I'll never forget it when, you know, like I remember when the thing broke out, whatever, in December, and then by whatever it was, like by March or whatever, Australia got hit. We started getting locked down and all that stuff. And like I remember me not really believing the hype that the social media and global media was giving it. But then when like all this stuff started coming out from like within the hospital, like my colleagues from the UK and saying, yeah, like I know somebody that died of COVID on the ward, and they were, you know, healthy, fit people with no comorbidities, like healthy young doctors and nurses. That started really scaring the shit out of me, right? Because I'm like, whatever, the media, you know, they've screwed us over before, they've lied to us before, but this is like real people on the ground in Italy and stuff like this. And that's when I started getting scared. And I'll never forget it, man. Like I remember telling my parents, like, look, I'm a frontline worker, don't come over, don't do anything like this, blah, blah, I don't want to give you something. you guys are like in your 60s, let's not do that. And like I remember my parents being very distraught by that. You know, they couldn't see the grandkids and all the rest of it, and the shops being empty, and like flashbacks to the war, and like being refugees and all of that. Like that was hard pill to swallow. But I also had my doubts about the vaccines. Like I was like, I'm not going to be the first one taking this shit. Like they cooked it up overnight. I understand, like the biggest brains in the world came together to do this, but why are you forcing me to do this? And like I never understood the idea of, you know, if you don't take the vaccine, you're hurting other people and whatnot. Like I was like, okay, so I might be carrying the virus and I have the vaccine, so it's not going to get me ill, but I can still give it to other people. And what really, really bothered me, and I ended up taking 3 vaccines because I had to do it, right? Like if I didn't do it, the CEO of the hospital sent me a mail, and they were like, if you don't take your vaccine by this day, you will not allowed to be working. Like you'll literally lose your job. And I remember like the postman came, and I was in the garage, door open. It was like summertime. And I read the thing. It was like a 3-4 page thing. And I was like, holy shit, dude, these people are actually going to fire me over this shit. And so I ended up taking the vaccine on the last freaking day. Like I booked on like literally the last day. And I took it, and I was kind of like, you know, weird about it because here I am. I'm a freaking 30-year-old dude, peak health, taking a vaccine. My probability of death is very low in terms of everything. You know, I get it. You know, elderly people with comorbidities, and they're like, as we say, circling the drain anyway. Yeah, give them risk to reward ratio, all of that stuff. But the idea of you need to do this or we'll fire you was like, wait a minute. Like, what is actually going on here? Why are you guys so crazy about doing this? Especially, like I said, from where I come from, the world that I come from, it was a weird vibe for us. And some people here might not understand, you know, a refugee kid that came from a civil war where, you know, I didn't really trust the government over there. And definitely the conclusion was, I don't trust any of you motherfuckers anymore. You guys have screwed me. A lot of my family have died. And so when you come to a different country and the government starts to behave in a similar manner, where they're trying to like force you at gunpoint, whatever, well, not at gunpoint, but they're like, you don't do this, you're not going to be able to eat. You lose your house. How are you going to feed the kids? So ultimately, I didn't do it because I wanted to do it. I did it because, well, I got kids I got to feed and a wife like I have to take care of in the house and whatever. I got responsibilities. I'm not a loner. Other people around me, they're like, Ivan, don't do it, man. You can come work for me. Freaking, we can tile together. Like we can blah, 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 all this shit. I didn't like that aspect. Okay, cool. No worries. Here's a vaccine. It's up to you whether to take it, and it's up to your discretion. I would have understood that, and I would have been happy with that. But they forced us. They forced us. That I didn't like. And the whole pretense for the forcing was, well, you know, if you don't take it, then you will transfer it to other people and other people will die. And now after all of this stuff, the research is coming out now, and they are basically concluding that a lot of this stuff was BS. A lot of this stuff, a lot of the research, a lot of people lied. Like that Fauci guy, he's a freaking international criminal now, apparently. Like, you know, I mean, I've not looked into it since full-heartedly, but a lot of stuff is coming out to say that a lot of people were harmed. Pericarditis, like, you know, hematology problems like clots and all this stuff. Like a lot of people had a lot of trouble. In fact, the other day, this lady that I was looking after, she was like, she came in with abdo pain, whatever, and she was like, yeah, like I basically got Crohn's from the vaccine. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. It's just a coincidence. Like, come on. She was like, no, like I took the first vaccine. I was healthy, fine, blah, 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 blah. I had a young child at home. Took the vaccine, boom, flare up, inflammation, full system. Like I started getting achy joints. And like literally her whole system just flared up. And there was inflammation everywhere. And she ended up getting diagnosed with Crohn's. Cool. That settles down, blah, 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 blah. Second dose comes around. Takes it again. Boom. Sets it off again. Bang. She's like, I took 3 vaccines, and every single time I took a vaccine, I got a bout of Crohn's. And before that, I never had Crohn's. And I was like, wow. And there's a lot of these kind of anecdotes. And sure, somebody could sit down here and say, look, that's coincidental, like, you know, that's not cause and effect. But when you see that many stories on repeat, it does make you wonder. It does make you wonder what actually happened. And, you know, the effect of these. Like I think I took, what did I take? I think I took 3 Pfizers from what I can remember. Or was it the first one, AstraZeneca? I can't remember. But it was an interesting time, interesting time. And frankly, like I sit back now, I'm like, I can't even believe how it all panned out. And, you know, thank God we're all kind of, my family, we're all good. But, you know, we had extended family as well back in Bosnia. Young guy, like in his early 30s, father of one, truck driver, big, strong 6'5" guy, like in shape. He got COVID and he died. And so, holy shit, like young people dying from COVID, once again. Like, what are we doing here, man? So, in that sense, you're like, holy shit, the vaccine was needed, right? How many people die of the flu that are young? I'm sure there are some people, but like, you don't hear young people just dropping dead from the flu. And you know, this cousin-in-law, he died. And I remember the time thinking, shit, the vaccines are definitely a must. Whether you needed to be this heavy-handed in the approach as a government and force people to do it and threaten people that, you know, they'll lose their jobs and then say, well, it's your decision. What do you mean it's my decision? It's not my decision, dude. I won't be able to eat, take care of my family. Of course you're making a decision for me. But then when you hear stories on the other side, like young people, young doctors and nurses in COVID wards dying, you go, fuck, what is that? Like, what is that? Like, you can't say to yourself, you know, the vaccines were bad, which you can. I'm not saying you can't. A lot of people got screwed over with the vaccines. But at the same time, a lot of young people died of COVID as well. Now, if you look at the rates, from what I understand, still the mortality rate of the influenza A and B, I think the mortality is higher. It's just with COVID, what apparently the research is saying is that it was so much more prevalent. Its ability to spread was a lot better than the flu. So I don't know, like I am in two minds about the whole thing. Like I'm part of the medical cog. You know, I'm a cog in the system of the medical world. So I saw the experts talking about it, medical professionals. And I'm also on the other side listening to, you know, people with no medical knowledge and experience talking about their anecdotes. And it's like, there are valid points on both sides. Being the government wouldn't have been easy back then. My only thing is, was it the right decision to go as heavy-handed? That's where I stand. And all, you know, now with hindsight being 2020, you can probably look back and make sense of all of the data and the research and say, yep, no, the vaccine was the wrong thing, or the vaccine was the right thing. To be honest with you, I just completely lost interest a few years ago, and I haven't really kept up with a lot of the stuff, but I know there was a lot of chat about it. All right, let me do a set, and I'll see what you guys said. Oh my goodness, this is a PR, boys. 82 kilos. All right, let's see if I can move 82. That Sobel should have sued. And a lot of people did sue. I remember during that period, we lost something like, if I'm not mistaken, like 15 nurses in ED, just in my ED, who simply said, no, I'm not taking the vaccine, and they lost their job. And, you know, a lot of these girls also were, you know, around the time of starting a family, and so they just had a baby. They just went on leave and had a baby, and, you know, they kind of took that leave as maternity leave, and so they could kind of avoid it that way. But a lot of those girls haven't been back at all. And to this day, and this is the biggest thing, This is the bit I don't understand, and this is the bit that kind of really smells of corruption and conspiracy theory, right? Let me explain this bit. So a lot of people ended up getting COVID, right? A lot of people ended up getting COVID, like when it first kind of came through, right? And still, they made you take a vaccine, a third dose. What the fuck? I've had the literal disease. I've got antibodies because I actually had the damn thing. And now you want me to take a vaccine for the thing? Whereas the vaccine was, that's not as updated version of the virus as the thing that I just had last week. But now I need to have a vaccine which is based upon like a year ago, the virus. And that's the kind of shit that's happening right now. Like I've got family now who, you know, my nieces who want to like, you know, get into the medical field and study paramedics or whatever they, you know, decide to do. And a lot of the programs are like, if you don't have the vaccine, you can't do the program. They have had documented like rat tests of, you know, they've had COVID a couple of times. But these institutions want you to have the vaccine. I do not understand that for the life of me. I do not understand what the fuck is going on. They've had the actual disease. They've had it. Like they've got antibodies. Like it makes no sense to me. Maybe I don't have enough knowledge about what's going on, but like in my mind, that is bullshit, dude. That reeks of some other bullshit, man. Like what the hell is going on? Why do you want me to have the vaccine? The vaccine is more outdated than the thing that I've got. That bit makes the whole thing smell real bad. Why are they actually making us have the vaccines? Just for the sake of having it? Or are you actually interested in my own health? If you're interested in my health, well, you would know that I've already had the fucking thing. That's the bit I don't get, man, at all. Isn't it kind of relevant for nurses to be vaccinated for their job? Like in the military, you have to get a bunch of vaccines. Absolutely, and I had all the vaccines. You know, you can't start nursing without it. But my point is, like, if you already had the fucking thing, why do you need the vaccine for the thing that you've already got? Like, you've already got the antibodies. That's the bit I don't understand. A bit old now, so lost a bit of his sharp. He decided to take 10 jabs now for COVID. 10 jabs, damn. Hardest decision we made was my wife being pregnant and us being forced to take the vaccine. We were both ambos at the time. It's one thing for us to take the vaccine, but your unborn daughter? Thankfully, all turned out right. Yeah, I know. And I remember that was like a big topic. Obviously, I work in nursing, so a lot of women around. That was a big topic, man. Like I remember a lot of people struggling with that decision. Do you take the vaccine when you're pregnant? And I believe there was like an elevated risk of all these other risk factors for women that were pregnant. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. After all these years, I still scratch my head about all of that period. I don't really know what the hell is going on. All right, so this is a PR, man. 82 freaking kilos on this little torture device. Holy shit. All right, let's go. Oh! Oh! All right, that's 82 kilos to be precise. Oof, and I'm gonna go squat now with these screwed up adductors. Darian Yamak says, ciao, Ivan. I left a comment on a video already, but curious your thoughts on animal agriculture and abstaining meat, dairy, and eggs. Hey, Calcium, what's up, man? Darian, there was a time, man, good 10 years ago. more. Then I went vegetarian for about 3 months after watching a documentary, Forks Over Knives or something like that. And that was like my big slap in the face about meat production and all the rest of it. Had no idea it was that bad, dude. And it horrified me, so I was like, nah, I'm not going to eat meat anymore. And at the time, I was still living with my parents. I was more than 10 years ago now, for sure. And they were like, Ivan, what are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. I went on my little, deep dive on that. And I was very uneducated about the whole thing, and I basically became anemic very quickly. I essentially just removed the meat off the plate, and so I was having your normal diet with just scraping the meat off the plate, and so I basically ate nothing. I didn't get my protein intake, I didn't get my nutrition properly right, blah, 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 and so I lost the whole stack of, and during this period I didn't train at all. I was starting to get into the medical degree, studying for the GAMSAT. I don't know if you guys know what the GAMSAT is. It's like a medical entry exam. And so for about a year I was doing that, so I didn't train at all throughout that process. I think I was like 23 or something like that, 24. And yeah, I just did that. And then after a while, I think it was in that 3-month period, I went back to the gym just like on a whim. And I was doing squats. And back then I wasn't very strong at all. And after that, like I was dizzy, I was just falling apart, just not feeling right at all. And that was like the first time I really felt the impact of my diet. And after that session, I just had this craving for a freaking steak. And I went home and cooked up a steak and I ate it. But before that, I already started to learn that the processes here in Australia are a lot better than the processes in America. Still not fancy, still not good enough, but they were better. And the meat quality was better and all of that stuff. So I kind of made the decision to go back to meat, pending more decisions and pending more thoughts. And over the years, I've thought about it many times over. And I've struggled with some of the philosophy over it. And I still conclude that our processes are bad. But I still feel like we were meant to eat meat. And I know that's a controversial thing for a lot of people. But I think we were meant to eat meat, and we are much healthier when we eat meat. Now, how we go about the meat production, that is the biggest thing. And frankly, a lot of people, if they had to kill their for their own meat, produce their own meat, a lot of people wouldn't freaking eat meat. So we're in this like separated reality where we just go to the shops and pick up this meat and we don't even think where it's come from. We just think, oh, it's a steak. We don't actually imagine that this was actually a leg of an animal, So I think for most people, they just go around not thinking about that, and that's why meat's okay. But I still feel like the bottom line is I think we are supposed to eat meat, and we have for thousands of years. That's kind of what my conclusion is on that. Even though it is not a wholeheartedly 100%, I feel 100% about it. I feel like that's where I'm sitting at the moment. I'm like divided into, I don't want to eat meat for the animals, for the animal's sake, but also want to eat meat for my own health's sake. And I think a lot of people will say, Van, you're getting it all wrong. And I'm willing to listen to it, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. And it's one of those things, like, there's a bunch of different topics in my mind that I struggle with. And I mentioned this before. I've got these topics in my mind that I still haven't worked out. At 36 years of age, I still don't know where I stand. Some of the stuff is like euthanasia. Euthanasia is one of those things that I don't really know what to think. I understand both sides of the argument, but it still kind of feels off for whatever reason. I just struggle with accepting it, even though I definitely see that there are uses for it. Capital punishment is another thing. I struggle with authorizing a government to take lives. I struggle with the morality and the ethics of that. And the other thing is abortion. I struggle with that thought as well. Obviously, fully understand that there are circumstances where abortion is absolutely required. Being in the medical field, like I know circumstances, I know ideas, I know stories, I know cases where this stuff is definitely needed. But I still struggle with the ethics and morality of it. And where do you draw the line? Is it at 20 weeks? Is it at 16 weeks? Is it at 24 weeks? And then the whole question of like, when does life start? When does the fetus become a living thing? When does, and you know, I've heard a lot of philosophical discussions, a lot of medical discussions about that. You know, some people believe when they take the first breath, that's when the life starts. Some people think when the heart rate starts, that's when the life starts. Some people think it's even earlier. And so then like right here, I think in South Australia, you can abort up to 20 weeks. I think in some circumstances, it can be even later. And, you know, I've worked with some midwives at the hospital and they've been part of some of these procedures of abortions, you know, surgical abortions. And that is, like, if you heard about some of these stories, man, like literally arms and legs coming out, you know, like formed babies coming out, all cut up and heavy topics. Heavy topics, and you know, people can sit there and you know, disagree and argue and go back and forth, but to be the legislation makers, the bill makers, and all of this stuff, it is very hard. It is very hard to make some of these decisions and not screw somebody over. There's a lot of cases of like, you know, rape and all that stuff that goes on, and a lot of people find themselves in awful conditions. And so to say, no, abortion is not right, that ain't freaking right either. But then I've also had, you know, I've also met people like prostitutes of the street who have had like 15 abortions. What the fuck is that? What is that? Now, is that abuse? Is that like, what are we doing here, man? Like, what are we doing here? And so obviously there's two sides of the spectrum, but I struggle with those ideas as well, you know. Somebody murders somebody, is the state then okay to murder him? You've murdered somebody, you're a piece of shit, like what the fuck? You've killed somebody, we're gonna kill you. Is that fighting evil with evil? I struggle with that. I struggle with many different things, you know, and a lot of times like I make my opinions known. You know, I'm not coming to you as this freaking omnipower of this philosophical, like I've worked everything out in life. I haven't. I have thoughts like everyone else, but like these are some of the biggest struggling topics that I have in my mind, and I don't really know freaking what to think anymore. And I've wrestled with it oftentimes when I can't sleep in bed. And I sit there and I stare at the, you know, you guys know me, man, like I think about philosophy. I'm not the most well-equipped, freaking well-read individual, but like you sit there and you wonder about things and you go, shit, if I had the power, like if I was a dictator of a country, what would I say to people to do? What would I say my government to do? Like, what would I say my people? Okay, this is what we're gonna do. No abortions. What? That shit ain't right. How can you say that? Euthanasia. Somebody dying a painful death from cancer, and you say no to them, not to ease that pain and suffering. I don't know, man. Oh. Alrighty, let's freaking do some squatting, eh? Alrighty. This microphone is pissing me off. Pissing me off. Oh. Josh, that's how I feel. It's different, of course, but if you are on point about asking how to help, then it's probably a little bit serious than changing the substance. Yeah, I don't know, man. How long I've been training? Fucking time flies so quickly, man. 100 minutes. 100 freaking minutes, boys. 100 minutes. All right, let me hit this 160, see what's up. All right, let's see 180. Every day I'm hitting 180, 180. Every day I'm hitting 180 to that day. Just a bit of a tickle of 180. She'll be right, mate. She'll be right. She'll be right, mate. Oh, I do understand them. I'm just of the opinion that changing the substance isn't a solution. Well, which substance are we talking about? Big decisions. A lot of this morality and ethics, yeah. What is the bloody answer? I don't know what the answer is. Yeah. All right. Let's see, 180. Not bad. After hitting adductors pretty hard, I felt pretty good. Now, I've been thinking about doing a bit of experimentation. Haha, that's unlike me, right? I'm thinking about dropping the abductors machine. I'm not doing it that often. I want to see what just adductor work will do. I need to know some answers before I go crazy with the squat period, which is coming up. I want to know what the bloody answers are. And so, do I or do I not do a little bit of this? Fucking hell, I will do it. See, I say things like this and then I just go back straight away. I like how this feels as well. I say things and I'm like, but I actually like how this shit feels as well. I'll do a little bit. I'll just jump on straight to the working sets and fucking bang out some shit. I'll just do that. Oi, opa, 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 opa. 36. Fuck it, let's just go 60 bang straight. 64, man. I thought about not doing this, but this is nice as well. Let's go on. Yeah, that shit feels good, man. That shit feels good, man. Alrighty. Abductors warm up. To be honest, circuit does too. Abductors get crazy work in the wide stance about pulling my groin. Patrick said, Josh, if the lol, imagine being real with your audience and having opinions. Who's going to cancel you? People you don't care to listen anyway. I'm 59. Got joint issues, maybe not bad, but I have them. What are my thoughts on compounds? I don't know, man. I don't know what to think. I'm never going to do it. Not my thing. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, 180's become a daily minimum now. During a quiet period like this of no crazy squatting, I get very excited when I hit 180. And I think I've hit 180 now for like fucking week straight or something, probably longer. It's not a big deal at all for me anymore. You know? My man. Bada boom, bada bam. Bada boom, bada bam. All right. Let's get some more 60. Let's go. Actually, no. I need more. I need more. Give me 70. Oh! That is some good shit. Whew. Man, it's Grit to Groove minimum is your OPR. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You prefer them over bench press for shoulder health? Jeez. I don't know if too many people like dips for shoulders though. Holy shit, dude. Like, isn't dips even worse for shoulders? That's like full fucking, you know, extension in the shoulder. I don't know. Dips are okay, but they're kind of weird though. I don't know. Have you tried Ukrainian deadlifts? I think not right. 300 kilo deadlift is day if you start doing them. I've never heard of that, man. Never heard of that before. Jesus, it's all like the eastern states, Romanian, Bulgarian, all the bloody eastern dudes are all over it. Let's go, 73. Oh! That's heavy. I'll do another one of those and call it quits. Of course, finish off with that. That's always the finisher. I guess dips is like the idea a position is bad in lines then. Is it safe for kids to learn to deadlift? Well, it depends how old the kid is, Miz, you know. I wouldn't too early, no way. My body really enjoys narrow width. Yeah. I know a small, who like it's called physical 100, body composition, physical 100. You stand in wide-legged on 2 high blocks while lifting a loaded pin with your hands in the middle. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how I would set up the blocks. My blocks will go flying if I was to go really wide. That's interesting. That is interesting. I'm going to look into that Ukrainian deadlift business. I've never seen that. 2 benches can work. Yeah. Got one more of this. Uno momento. Maybe during the deadlift period, I could try that with the trap bar deadlifts. Maybe. I guess with that Ukrainian deadlift, you could really exaggerate the range of motion and get like really deep. It depends on the box, I suppose. Alrighty. Oh man, I've got nothing left. Nothing left, boys. Finish off with the monster thing here. And that's all she wrote, mate. That's all she bloody wrote, eh? Hey? Oh. These machines be killing me. So 80, 82. What was this? 70. 73. 83. 82. What are we doing here? Any recommendation for my home gym? I have your squat rack, the 2 legs, and I have Roman chair, pull-up station, a barbell with like 300 plates, but no bumper plates. Any suggestions? Oh, it depends, man. Jacob, it depends what you want to do, what the goals are. Depends. Like everyone's going to have a slightly different home gym and slightly different setup, and it's up to you, man. I mean, if you don't have bumper plates, you can still put something underneath and dampen the sound. It just depends how you want to train. There are people literally that don't do deadlifts at all. They just do RDLs. They don't do deadlifts off the ground, so the sound is not loud. Just depends, man. It depends how you want to roll with it. Oh, all right. This will be interesting. 80, 82. Man, I'm tired, mate. Oh. Oh. Boys, I think we're done here. I have nothing left. No sleep session. Not bad. I've done a bit of work. Bit of bench, bit of row, bit of adductors, bit of abductors, bit of squatting. I think all of that will make me sleep a bit better. I'd struggle to sleep if I didn't work out, that's for sure. But now, I enjoy power building like I enjoy the heavy compound squat daily, but also like bodybuilding. Victor, spot on, man. I'll be resting like a baby tonight. See you, fellas. See you, Miz. See you, everyone. I will see you same time tomorrow, man. Same time tomorrow. I have to get inside, chill a bit. It's been a pleasure, like always. Been a pleasure. See you later, Pragmatic Duck. Jacob. Yeah, man. It all slowly heads up. If you put like a decade into this, you will gather some equipment, man. So just, as you go along, priorities will change, ideas will change. You'll have blocks of training here and there, and then voila. All right, fellas, I'm out of here. Catch you all in the next one, and we'll have some more chats and more chill out sessions while we move some iron, I suppose. Appreciate you, fellas. Peace out. Bye-bye.